But let's talk about I guess the left and hypocrisy, because we got this story here. It's from the other day actually, but it's been picking up. Okay, boomer TikTok influencer called Hypocrite after showing off $2 million flat. Everybody knows Nico Lowell. She is an influencer. And if you don't know who she is, just take a look at George over here. He's got a picture that he drew.
What kind of freak would draw that?
Yeah, especially that top left one.
Something's wrong with that artist.
Yeah, who hurt him?
Biden emerging from the wall like some kind of gigantic Junji Ito demon.
So what's happening in this piece of art, George?
Well, she regrets being a part of the party that ended up devouring her. I mean, she was obviously supporting one guy, and then, oh no, it's the other guy. And you fed him. Turns out you fed him the whole time.
There are like other faces in his body.
Oh, yes. You see, there's the sequel, my book, Oh No, It's Uncle Joe, which is not
Oh no, it's
not based
Joe.
on anyone real. You see,
no.
where the story is that, there's
Okay. So anyway, this is she's a very popular influencer. She did this dance. You probably saw it where she's saying, "Okay, boomer," gets 50 million views. Now she's rich. The thing is, everybody's dragging her because she's got a Bernie shirt on. She's wearing a Tax the Rich shirt. And then she makes a video where she's like, my $2 million apartment. The first thing I'll just say is, when did you expect that? Why would you believe that any of these people actually knew or understood economics or politics? Right? Like all of these young DSA types. My assumption immediately is that they're children. You know, that's why they have that saying. It's like, if you're not conservative when you're older, you have no head. If you're not liberal when you're younger, you have no heart or whatever.
Yep.
Well, I think it's obvious. Everybody's liberal until they look at their first paycheck, and then they realize where the taxes are going. I'll tell you a story,
I wasn't liberal before then.
Dude, I worked for when I worked for American Airlines. I remember I was always waiting for the younger guys who got hired to look at their paycheck and then just be like, nah. I remember the first time I got a paycheck. 'Cause I had jobs before this. I worked at some fast food restaurants. I worked at Portillo's. People, you guys know Portillo's in
Dude,
Chicago?
Portillo's is the best.
Yes, it's totally lit. And I worked there. And then I got a job at the airline. And I worked, 80 hours in 2 weeks. And I was like, I had a general idea of taxes and what I was going to get. And I needed desperately the money. And I look at my check and I'm like, nah, this ain't right. And I was like, hey, there's something wrong with my check. And they're like, no, look, there it is. It's like all the breakdowns there. And I was like, why am I being taxed so much?
Yep.
Like that blew my mind. I'm like, bro, I'm poor. I can't afford that.
It's insane. And they talk about raising the minimum wage while they're taxing people who make minimum wage. It's like, how about you just take less of their money?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, they get it back at the end of the year for the most part if they're poor. But anyway, what ends up happening is you get a lot of people who go to college. They never had a job.
Yeah.
So while they're in college, they hear Bernie, socialism, communism, and all this other stuff. They've never had a job. Mm-hmm. Then when they get out, what happens? Some of them become famous. Start making hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. And now they're just like, okay, boomer, buy a $2 million flat or whatever. I don't know if she actually bought it, but they never actually understood any of the politics they were espousing. Because I tell you this, any one of these people, if they had to provide for a family, they'd be like, abolish taxes.
Yes.
Taxation is theft.
100%.
The moment they're like, I just worked all year and what do I have to show for it? Well, 40% of your income. I think the total taxes with sales tax and everything, it's like 48% or something like that of your income goes to the government or higher probably.
And with sales tax, it also depends on how you look at it. So if you're self-employed or you run your own business, you have to pay more into Social Security. You pay in what your employer would normally pay in. And what people don't realize is like their employer, when they do pay into that, they're taking that out of that person's check. So you're paying more into taxes than you actually think you are.
So this is this okay boomer thing, right? At first, I was actually going to do a segment where I was like, guys, I really don't care that she's rich. You can be a lefty and still believe in like class and wealth.
If you're like
I guess.
a sock dem, yeah, maybe.
Right. And so I'm like, there's nuance here. Maybe she's going to learn. But then I saw this video where she's like, she made a video called How Much Money Do I Make? And she said, I think when people are talking about the wealthy, they're talking like about billionaires. And I'm like, oh, here we go.
That's hilarious.
Bernie.
I'm not.
So here's the thing. I made this joke years ago. I did a cartoon about the 99.99% complaining about the 0.01%.
0.01%.
Or 0.01%. And the whole bit was that in the United States, where the vast majority of people have a standard of life significantly higher than basically everyone else in the world. So if you make more than $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of the world economy. And people in the U.S. are constantly complaining, or I shouldn't say all people in the U.S., but many are constantly complaining about income inequality. And it's literally like, to some extent, millionaires complaining about billionaires. Not always. I understand when you get into things like healthcare, there are actually a lot of legitimate problems that need to be solved there. But I think it's funny that now we literally do have millionaires complaining about billionaires. Like it's a joke I made years ago, and it's an actual thing which is happening.
I would, you should make a video with Bernie being like, I am a humble millionaire, upset with the billionaires.
Look how much I have to work.
But
if you write a best-selling book, you can be a millionaire.
No, but it's
too.
got to be like he's leading a rally of millionaires. It's a bunch of millionaires with pitchforks angry at the
thing.
billionaires.
Like I made a cartoon like that years ago, and it was these rich guys complaining about how other people are more rich than them.
It is unfair
and now it's
that I
real.
have to write an entire book to buy my fourth house.
There might be something to it because the founding fathers of the United States were basically millionaires of their time up against the billionaire of their time, the king, who was unfairly, fiscally robbing them, taxing them. And so these big companies with these bailouts and are basically that. That's like the modern day monarchy. And maybe we need a class of millionaires to rise up and fix things.
There is a massive disparity between the wealthiest and the poorest in the world that's like we've never seen before. So what happens is in the US you end up with these like what do we call them yesterday? Silver spoon socialists. Where that's what someone super chatted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's a silver spoon
like
socialist where they're like supporting Bernie Sanders and democratic socialism while they're millionaires complaining about billionaires. And I'm like, dude, I think it's all bad. I get it. People are allowed to be rich. I got no problem with people being rich. I'm saying my problem is with the ultra wealthy manipulating elections and using undue influence and everything. It's a challenge. I don't know how you solve it because it's not just about having money. Like the fact that I have this show, that we're on this show is more valuable than money. People pay so that they can get a message out across through the show or something. So I don't know how you actually deal with problems like that, but I can tell you this. Someone who's got $50 million has massive power, and someone with $1 billion has a lot more, but they can still have massive influence over elections.
Yeah, you don't need money to be super popular and influential. You just need a little bit.
Just hold it up.
No.
Are you sure that's
don't
acceptable?
Don't do it.
Why not?
Don't do it.
Don't. Okay,
It's
fine.
gross.
I got to
It's
do
gross.
it.
It's gross. Don't do it.
Can I do it?
Don't. No, Seamus
George-
said not to.
George is
Please
explaining.
don't.
Seamus is mad.
I drew a butt, and it says,
It's
Your
gross.
butt.
Is it,
and
is
it says,
a butt? I
it
didn't
says
know.
money,
Okay.
please.
Well, so this is the funny thing about Nico.
I'll take your money.
That's right.
I'll draw butts all the time.
The funny thing about Nico is that people are commenting, people are dragging her, being like, "You're a hypocrite" and all that stuff. But her fans are like, "I literally only follow her for her body. I don't care what she believes." Whatever, man. She's getting rich then. Fine, whatever.
It's her hustle, whatever. Everybody's got their own hustle.
Yeah. Also, I don't know what we were expecting from like the TikToker here at the same time. Maybe that's a little condescending. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, so maybe I shouldn't be dumping on TikTokers. But I like to think we're like a little bit above that. I like to think
I'm not
I hope
above
so.
it.
I think Dragon Bernie is perfectly appropriate.
absolutely. I do
He
it all the time.
stopped saying millionaire when he became a millionaire. No joke. Like there was an article. It's like you can track the moment he removed millionaire from his speeches, and it's around the same time he became a millionaire. That's the stupidest thing ever.
Welcome to the club of wanting money. Like we were talking about this before we went on air. I don't see why every young people isn't saying, I want to be a millionaire. I want to do whatever is morally okay with me, whatever. I'm going to do what's got to be done to earn a living and maybe earn more than a living so I can, take care of my family, whatever. Buy a nice car if you want to buy a nice car. There's no guilt factor. I don't understand why people have this guilt of like, it's okay to make money. And
Yeah,
then
seriously.
have the money,
Yeah.
and then you can spread it to other places, invest, give it to other people so they can do things with that money. Don't just sit on people have this idea of, all right, so there's the idea of if certain people who don't have a lot of money win the lottery, it actually is worse for them in the long run because they don't know how to spend the money
true.
or save it or reinvest it. But like I feel like if you have this if you work for your money, maybe you have a little bit more of a you understand the value of that dollar or something. It's like, I have a couple of dollars in my pocket. I'm not going to just let it sit there. I want to make it do something. I want
buy
to
Bitcoin.
whatever. It doesn't matter. The whole point is you've got to try this idea of when you have a couple of bucks, you don't just sit on it. You don't just waste it. You want to try to do something with it. Give it to other people, hire other people so that you can make more money and they can make more money. That's the point of, that's one of the good things about earning money. So I can understand. I can understand how you might look at someone who has a lot and just assume they're just going to waste it all the time. But you can
Everybody
be
thinks they should have
responsible.
your money. Everybody
Yeah.
thinks they should be rich.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, you sound a little Keynesian for me on the point about savings, but I hear you. I think what it goes back to is what we discussed earlier with people thinking the only reason anyone has money is because they've done something evil to get it. And if you're at the top of that hierarchy, it must be because
That's
you
the left.
participated in a rigged game. Yeah, of course.
Until they get some.
Yeah, until they get some. And then they're like, well,
Yeah.
actually,
And then you
you
end
can
up
become
with
a millionaire ethically, but
Can we-
billionaires. And then as soon as Jeff Bezos becomes a trillionaire, it's just going to be him that everyone's mad at.
But
And
can
all
we-
the
can we-
billionaires are going to be like, no, being a billionaire is fine. It's the trillionaires who are really doing it to us.
We need a Bernie in 10 years, and he's like really old, and he's a billionaire now because he wrote 1,000 new best-selling books and made $1 billion, and he's like, the multi-billionaires in this country are the problem, not the billionaires. And then it's like Jeff Bezos. He's like
trillionaires?
he's looking at his phone and he's sweating, and it says like Jeff Bezos' net worth, and it's at 999 billion.
Yeah.
And then it rolls
maxed
over to
out.
1 trillion. He goes, the trillionaires in this country. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.